by a divisional officer who took upon himself to a list of over 1,000 teachers who have asked in Ngokitunja directly to the Ministry of Finance immediate action, and so far 3,700 have had their salaries suspended effective January 2022. We shall tell you more on the action of Christain Hadison in this. We shall equally focus on the landmark ruling World Organization for China against the United States of America.
Édition préférée de Debrief, émission de revue bilingue de presse sur Media Prime et télévision. Alors ce matin, nous débutons avec l'œil du Sahel qui nous parle, lui, de l'extrême nord Cameroun. La situation alimentaire est préoccupante. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de ce journal. En page 2, le journal parle du développement du Nord. Le Nord promeut l'économie locale. Nous continuons donc ce matin avec le journal L'Info à chaud qui parle de 500 millions de francs CFA réclamés à la CAF par des avocats. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de ce journal. En page 2, le journal parle d'une amende de 10 millions de francs CFA infligée aux Comores pour violation grave de protocole Covid-19 en ce qui concerne la Cannes Total Énergie Cameroun 2021. Nous terminons ce matin avec le journal Intégration qui parle du stade d'Olembe, enfer et résurrection, ambiance de cimetière à la fan zone du stade, espoir perdu des commerçants. Les détails sont donc en page 6 et 9 de ce journal. En page 5, le journal parle du Gabon et de la Guinée équatoriale à la CAN qui est aussi perd le match contre Covid-19. Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est ici que nous nous arrêtons pour cette revue de presse en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces journaux en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Bomotonguina, Gwladys. Let's kickstart this morning with the Lone English Daily, the Guardian Post newspaper, which is focusing on the action of absentee senior divisional officer of Ngokitunja division of the Northwest region of Cameroon, who has caused the suspension of salaries of 300 teachers fleeing armed conflict in that part of the country. Christain Hadison Konge has reportedly caused the suspension of the salaries of over 300 teachers posted to schools in his area of command. The salaries of the civil servants are said to have been suspended by authorities in Yaoundé at the behest of the Ngokitunja SDO. The decision suspending the salaries of the teachers borders around their continuous absence from their duty post in that part of the country. The sanctioned teachers are said to have fled the ongoing armed conflict in the two English-speaking regions of the country. The suspension is reported to have taken effect from January 2022, and the paper continued to tell us that the decision of the civil administrator, who is also reported to have taken permanent residence in Bamenda, several kilometers away from Dob, his duty station, is said to be the result of a correspondence to the Minister of Finance calling for the suspension of over 1,500 public school teachers in that part of the country. The correspondence was reportedly forwarded to Yaoundé in February 2021, having the over 1,700 teachers earmarked for suspension, which of course 300 have so far been suspended or got their salaries suspended, as per what the Guardian Post newspaper is telling us. And yesterday, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga, issued a press release distancing herself from the set sanction of the teachers, and she said the sanction was in accordance with some correspondences written by the senior divisional officer of Ngokitunja division to the Ministry of Finance of Cameroon. And on page 11 of this edition of the paper, we are told that government hints on shutting down leisure facilities violating safety rules across the national territory, and the nightclubs and other leisure sports across the country operating without respecting laid down safety rules might in the days ahead be shut down by administrative and security officers. This was a key decision which was taken at an end of a strategic interministerial meeting which the Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute chaired Wednesday, January 26 at the Star Building in Yaoundé. The meeting which brought together the Ministers of State for Tourism, Bello Buba Maigari, Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malashi, Sports and Physical Education, Professors Narcisse Mwele Kombi, Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, Mines and Technological Development, Gabriel Ndondo Ndoke, and Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Ngale Bibihe. And we continue this morning, televiewers of My Media Prime Television, to talk about this in line with the series of sad incidents which rocked the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Governments has, in what observers are qualifying as selling after the market, begun taking measures to ensure order at the Olembe Stadium. This is after the Monday, January 24th stampede that claimed at least 8 lives, and the observers say such is due to the mounting pressure from the Confederation of African Football, CAF. Authorities are now envisaging alternative routes to ensure access to the said facility. Such was amongst discussions held during an interministerial meeting which was chaired by Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute. That was yesterday at the Star Building. On page 11 still, which is equally zooming on the China's win of crucial world trade litigations against the United States of America. The People's Republic of China, according to the paper, has won a crucial trade litigation against the United States of America. This as per a ruling of the Geneva-based World Trade Organization, WTO, on January 26, 2022. The World Trade Organization arbitrator has decided that China can impose retaliatory tariffs on imports from the United States of America totaling up to $645 million a year. Thank you for watching, televiewers of My Media Prime Television. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning. And we are receiving Maître Alex Ndive, who is joining us from the United States of America, or rather from London. And we shall equally have Joy Ngong, who is with us already in the studio. Let's begin with Maître Alex Ndive, who is the leader of BCPN political party. Maître, good morning and welcome once again.
Good morning, thank you, and welcome to yourself, to Gwladys, to Ngong, who is on the panel, and your entire team. Thank you very much, and my greetings to the wonderful people of the Cameroon.
Let's begin vividly with this decision of the Senior Divisional Officer from Ngokitunja Division, Christain Henderson, who took upon himself to bypass the Ministry of Secondary Education to forward the list of over 1,700 teachers for immediate sanction. He says those teachers have abandoned their duty post. Maître Alex, as a lawyer, what do you have to say to this?
I want to start by saying, do unto others what you expect them to do unto you. Mr. Anderson Kongri, the Senior Divisional Officer of Ngokutinja, is resident in Bamenda. He is not in his division where he is supposed to be looking at those teachers. What I can say from the evidence before me is that Mr. Anderson Konge is there to protect his job, not for the civil servants. We understand that our people, when I mean our people, our teachers, our civil servants, our civilians, there is an ongoing crisis there. The government, which I say the government, why? Because the government have as a duty to maintain law and order and security. They are not able to do that, and they expect my brothers and sisters, our teachers, our brothers, our mothers, to go and die for a government that does not care about them. This is very shameful, and Mr. Anderson Konge should resign.
He should resign. And the Voice newspaper this morning, Maître Alex, described the said act, or the singular act of Christain Henderson, like I earlier mentioned, as shameful. And Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga, who happens to be the Minister of Secondary Education, yesterday sent out a release distancing herself from the said act that was taken by the Senior Divisional Officer for that part of the country. Maitre.
This comes to reiterate my point that Cameroon is a failed state. If you see a minister distancing himself from what the Senior Divisional Officer and unelected representatives say, one of the characteristics of a failed state is that they cannot agree among themselves. The Minister of Education or whatsoever, Madame Nalova, is saying distance himself. The GO is doing something. They are in the same
but Maitre, the SDO is not answerable to the Secondary Education Ministry. His Ministry of Origin is that of Territorial Administration. And we know who is at the helm of Territorial Administration in this country.
Yeah, I'm not talking about department or ministry. I'm talking about a government. They are in the same government. And if I should say all of them, they are from the ruling CPDM party. So it's a dysfunctional party, it's a dysfunctional government. This person is distancing himself from this and that. But however, what I will tell you, the minister, Madame Nalova, have got what we call a function and her duties. The GO have got a function and duties. I don't know.
But the parent ministry is that of secondary education. How comes that their salaries were suspended without the knowledge of Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga?
That's what I want to say. A minister is the boss of an SDO when it comes to ranking. So we cannot say and start blaming each other. These people are there to protect their job. They are not there to work for the citizen. They are not there to work for the civilian. They are not there to work for the buyer and seller. They are not there to work for people where they are there to protect their jobs. That is the problem we have in the Cameroon. Okay,
Maitre, I'll come back to you. Meantime, let me take Joy Ngong, who is already with us in the studio. Good morning, Joy, and welcome.
Good morning, Lasha. It's always a pleasure to be here.
300 teachers, mothers, and fathers having their salaries suspended by a senior divisional officer. How do we get to this level?
How did we get to this level, Lasha Kingsley? It's really a shame that a senior divisional officer who himself is not even present at, in his office where he is supposed to be, I think, in DOB, the headquarters of that division, himself is not present because he knows the situation of the place, and he bypasses all other institutions in that area, or all other institutions that are really responsible for these teachers to take a decision to suspend the salaries without first of all summoning the teachers. Because I believe that in as much as the Minister of Secondary Education also, I think sometime last year, suspended salaries of some teachers who were absent from their duty posts, they first of all put up a list and they called for these teachers to present reasons as to why they were absent on a duty, and failure to do that or to present credible reasons as to why they were not present on their duty post. That's where now the suspension comes in. But to suspend teachers because they were not present, you know very well what is happening in your division. We can
recently
take it
a host
from
of teachers, so many of them were kidnapped and taken away.
In that same area,
yeah,
so many of them have been killed. Some houses of teachers had even been burnt down in that same part of the country. And I still say that the senior divisional officer himself, he's not even present. It means he has to start by sanctioning himself as a civil servant who is not present in his duty post before taking it down on the other teachers. We saw how I think a school was in the Menchum division was transferred from one village to another village because of
in the same Menchum division, a principal and vice were taken away alongside 4 teachers recently.
It is to show the
and government apparently abandoned them. From what the Guardian Post is telling us this morning, that the relatives of the principal and the vice, including some of the tutors, they are the ones who fought for the release of their family members.
And these are state servants, these are civil servants, people who are called to serve the state. And when they are now fighting for their life, they are being left alone. I think their lives at this point are more important than where are they even going to teach? Because the students themselves are not even there. Schools have been burnt down, schools have been shut down. Where are they even supposed to answer presents? There are no schools, there are no students in the schools, but they expect that. I think that the senior divisional officer, what he had to do was have a meeting with these teachers and think of strategic ways either to transfer maybe some of these schools from the zones where they are highly
a certain zone, like
exactly, or certain method of learning with the teachers, you know, rather than taking a decision to suspend their salaries. The crisis already has hit them hardly. How are they going to survive now with their families? They are internally displaced already. How are they going to survive eventually with their families in other parts of the country, considering the way the economy has become very, very expensive these days? It is so pathetic that a state agent himself, who is not even present in his duty post, would take such an outrageous decision.
They took the decision since February
2021. It is really outrageous that such a decision can come from a state agent who himself has to also be answerable as to why he is not present in his own duty post. He has not answered that question.
Okay, Gwladys, you have a question for Maître Alexa Ndive.
Ok, effectivement, Maître, beaucoup d'erreurs administratives de la part de nos ressortissants de l'ENAM. Quelle est véritablement l'information qu'on leur donne dans cette école d'administration au point où, quand ils ressortent, ils font beaucoup d'erreurs administratives?
Le problème, c'est que l'ENAM, ce n'est pas quelque chose qu'on a créé au Cameroun. C'est une institution de General Charles de Gaulle. Et quand tu vois ENAM, c'est là où que nous, les anglophones, on a le problème parce que tu ne peux pas imposer l'ENAM, quelque chose qu'on a créé en France, pas au Cameroun. C'est notre problème-là. Et quand tu vois quelqu'un qui part en ENAM, qui fait 2 ans, ils ont quoi administrateur, le juge, là c'est notre problème. Normalement, dans les zones anglophones, les juges, les administrateurs ou bien les politiciens, ce sont les gens qui ont l'expérience, peut-être 10 ans, 20 ans. Mais ENAM, c'est quelque chose que, c'est ça, quand nous, les anglophones, on parle, c'est ça notre problème. On ne peut pas imposer quelque chose de la France dans les zones anglophones, parce que les anglophones imposent pas les coutumes dans les zones francophones.
Okay, Maître, yesterday Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute held an interministerial meeting. It was not yesterday, on the 26th, yes, that was yesterday, the day before yesterday, Maître. And one of the outcomes of the interministerial meeting was to beef up security and also create another access route into the Olembe Sports Complex. And many newspapers this morning have described that move as selling after the market.
My principle is about what? Proactive. We need a proactive government, and we don't need interministerial meetings to solve this problem. These matters are a problem of health and safety, and I presume in Cameroon we have health and safety measures in Cameroon, and what we should be looking into now is either criminal investigation, because a crime has been committed. There is a law in Cameroon, health and safety laws, health and safety regulations. So this interministerial meeting is part of their centralization and nothing do government. We need experts to come and see and know what happened. What were the security? Were the health and safety measure or laws? Were they respected? That's what we need. We don't need interministerial meeting. What are the ministers?
But they are actually meeting to discuss ways of improving on the safety policy you are talking about. And it was revealed during the meeting that there will be a tour of some nightclubs in Cameroon to ensure that the nightclubs are operating under the norms of the safety policy as per the laws of Cameroon.
Because I'm telling you, we have laws. I've not gone through the in-depth of those laws. So you shouldn't wait for people to be killed before you come here. I am very happy. I praise my brother from South Africa, the CAF president, who have got an Anglo-Saxon culture. He has disgraced this culture of France. I saw it when our brothers and sisters were killed at the stage.
But were responsibilities not supposed to be shared? Yes, Maitre, move on.
Let me lie. When the CAF president wanted to go to the hospital, he was called and told, don't go there because the journalists are going to be there. The journalists have to be everywhere. We need checks and balances. They have to watch what our administrator, the government is doing. They told the CAF president, don't go there. Because in Anglo-Saxon culture, leaders lead. The CAF president was supposed to be in the hospital to see what happened to our brothers and sisters.
But he went before having the press conference that he had.
Yeah, I know, they stopped him. They stopped him before not to go. They said they would tell him when to go there. I see him when he talks in Bongo, when he talks with our Francophone people. I'm not against Francophone. I'm talking the administrator, the people running Cameroon. They have that dictatorial aspect. They should learn from the CAF president. That's Anglo-Saxon culture. You're simple. You're okay. You call people my brothers. And Eto is doing that. Eto is teaching them those things. Eto was a player in Chelsea. These people, when you are in government, you respect your people, you love your people, you don't impose on them.
Okay, you don't impose on them. Thank you, Maitre Alex, for being a part of this edition of the brief. This day, we're glad you honored our invitation as usual.
Thank you and welcome, and my greetings to all your team.
Joingong, we have come to the end of the program. Your last words on this issue of the Prime Minister revealing that another access route to the Olembe Stadium will be created to ensure that what happened should not repeat itself.
Well, Lasha Kingsley, I have never blamed the Cameroon government for that stampede at the Olembe Stadium. First of all, I blame the Cameroonians for their disorder and disrespect of authorities, because that was not the first match that had been played in that stadium. You know, I blame simply the Cameroonians for their disorder, and really hope that with the other, the new measures that will be put in place by the Cameroon government, local organizing committee, Cameroonians will respect these rules and regulations to ensure, because if these entrances were not enough, it would not have been approved by CAF.
But somebody said somewhere that Cameroon, the government has been in place for over 40 years, so they should understand that Cameroonians are stubborn and know how they have to handle Cameroonians.
That's not because
I don't blame, I repeat, I don't blame the government for Cameroonians' behavior during that match. We have another match at Japoma Stadium tomorrow.
But
and I really
don't you
hope
think
that
there was
some
some kind of administrative tolerance, negligence on the part of the authorities in Yaoundé?
It is the authorities have given down this, they have given rules to the security men, who I'm sure at that time even, because from what the CAF president said during his press conference, the gates were closed.
There's a particular gate that was
closed, and that's the gate where people try to jump over. Who was supposed to
ensure that the gate...
Well, we are waiting for the results from
which means that the blame goes
CAF.
back to the government.
However, Cameroonians, if they say don't pass through this gate, it is closed.
If the door is closed, why will you force yourself?
Why will you force to jump over a gate? And
but I'm pretty sure that gate was not at the entrance to the Olembe Stadium. That you must have crossed several gates.
And there is a problem too with Cameroonians of respecting authority, because I think that even the last match that was played here in Douala at the Japoma Stadium, it was said that people who even left town 3 hours before the match could not even have access into the stadium because of traffic and all of that. If you want to have access to watch matches on time, Cameroonians, please leave your houses early enough to avoid gathering, so many people gathering in front of the gates and all of that. Leave your house on time. You have enough time to check in, check if your COVID-19 test is valid and all. You check in and you get into the stadium, look for a comfortable seat and sit down, so that you avoid all the insecurity or the stampedes, avoid gathering in large crowds and all. We have a match tomorrow, and please, Cameroonians, Douala population is even worse than Yaoundé population.
The access route into Douala is still under construction.
So, Cameroon, if you want to watch a match tomorrow, and we want to avoid blaming the government for
I'm pretty sure the governor of Littoral Region, Samuel Ivahad Diudene, will be granting a press conference earlier, maybe today or tomorrow.
And we should pay attention for the
roads that will be blocked. How they have to comport themselves.
Yes, one important fact, we should leave our houses very early enough to avoid stampedes, to avoid
Thank you, Joy.
being blocked out of the stadium.
Thank you for coming. Thank you to televiewers of My Media Prime Television for watching the very last edition of the program for the week, which was produced by Christain, Tebong. We were Bomotonguina, Gwladys, and myself, Lasha. Have a great weekend. Monday is another day. Bye-bye.
My Media Prime TV, the African Eye.